All right, folks, last video of the week. I'll go over the Carley and Konisky article here. This is an interesting article because it deals with the issue of justice and equity in transitioning to cleaner sources of energy. I wanted to assign this article so you can have a different take on how to think about environmental justice. Most of the work out there is really concerned with the negative effect that some actions have on the environment and how the resulting environmental problems disproportionately affect the health of communities with a greater percentage of people of color. This is completely understandable, and you can see that reflected on the other reading that I assigned this week and the other material that you have in Carmen, both the lectures and the movie that I'm asking you to watch this week. But this article is more concerned with the economic implications of transitioning to cleaner sources of energy. This is another dimension of justice, if you will. The article, in my opinion, is interesting because it shows that communities that we usually don't think about as disadvantaged can also be burdened financially and socially by seemingly desirable policies. So the authors mention, for instance, how communities that have historically relied on coal production to sustain their social and cultural infrastructure, how they will be the losers when we transition to cleaner forms of energy production. And this is something to keep in mind, particularly if we want to understand why, for instance, coal miners have opposed policies to promote cleaner energy generation. It's not because they're being greedy, but simply because their livelihood can be severely impacted by these changes, right? So you can see a bit more detail on this discussion when you read the section Disproportionate Burden, which is in the second page of the article. But when things get interesting is when the authors actually discuss that the transition to cleaner forms of energy generation can also affect those that are located in lower socioeconomic levels, which, by the way, tends to correlate with race in the US, as you know. People of color are more likely to be of lower socioeconomic status, make less money in their work, have blue-collar jobs and that sort of thing. An important concept they discuss in this regard is this idea of enhanced energy insecurity. And make sure you understand what that is. That's on page 571. If you just dig for that information somewhere here, you're going to find that out, and you should know what that concept enhanced energy insecurity means. Another way in which the transition to cleaner forms of energy generation can be less than just is described in the section lack of access to energy transition opportunities. So this has to do with who will get the majority of jobs in the green energy sector in the future. So pay attention to that as well. That part of the discussion is really important. Finally, there's another section called Building Adaptive Capacity. And this section has a lot of information on how to overcome these energy justice problems. There will be 1 or 2 questions in the last quiz this week about information that is contained in this section, so make sure you read it carefully. This is the section where the authors mostly discuss potential policies to alleviate the problem that they are studying. Okay, that's it for this video. Good luck on the quizzes, and don't forget to post in this week's discussion forum. Have a good one. Thanks.